Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing retirement visas. Specifically, we're discussing conversion to a retirement visa. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this in recent weeks. Folks basically saying, okay, I'm going to come into Thailand, I'm going to use like a visa exemption stamp or a tourist visa, and then just convert into a retirement visa. It may be possible to do that, but as we've stated in other videos, it is discretionary on the part of the adjudicating immigration officer as to whether or not that conversion will be perfected. And recently, we had a case, it actually wasn't our case, we had somebody come to us after they had attempted to convert, and they had some real problems. And I think ultimately we're going to find a solution, but quite frankly, it's going to be a pretty convoluted solution because that local immigration officer seemed to take a major issue with the notion of just being able to sort of walk in the country, in sort of one temporary status and just move over to a more permanent Thai retirement visa status. Remember, the overarching paradigm with respect to all non-immigrant visas in Thailand is that non-immigrants, if they're changing status or converting status, need to step out of the country. They need to basically leave, do a quote-unquote border run, and then travel back in with a new visa. Yeah, well, you could call it a visa run. They got to go to an embassy, get a new non-immigrant visa, and then come back in. The presumption has never been that this has been something that should be done in country. Now, obviously, there were exigent needs that came up as a result of the recent pandemic, or I should say the government response there too, especially with respect to border crossings or lack thereof, border closures. But the thing to understand is, at the end of the day, the paradigm is you're supposed to leave. And also, it is at the discretion of the adjudicating officer. In this set of circumstances, that officer felt there was not a real need to convert, and there were some issues that this person had when they were doing it themselves with respect to some of their evidence associated with the conversion that resulted in basically being told, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. So, move on, essentially. Now, again, they contacted us, and I think ultimately we'll have a successful solution. But again, it's a pretty convoluted one. It's kind of a Gordian knot. We're going to have to kind of go through a bunch of different steps to sort of regularize this person's status, especially now that certain aspects of this have become somewhat irreparable. But leaving that aside, just understand, I think there's kind of an air of being able to convert is just a foregone conclusion. That is not necessarily the case. If you're looking to come into Thailand to retire, frankly, the best way to do that is to get a retirement visa before coming in. Now, if you find yourself in a set of circumstances which do arise, where you've come to Thailand thinking you were going to be a tourist and you want to change that and stay longer and you meet certain criteria associated with a retirement visa, it may be possible to convert status. But understand, it is not a foregone conclusion.